excuse
I think it was Beto O'Rourke's speech about Kaepernick. He was the politician that said something about NFL players kneeling. This is the speech. Hopefully the phone lasts. Let me see if I could get it going. As usual, I have no signal.
Like you have the NFL players kneeling.
Here we go.
I do come from a family of veterans, and you mentioned football season earlier. I kind of wanted to know how disrespectful it is. Like you have the NFL players kneeling during the national anthems. I wanted to know if you found that disrespectful to our country, to our veterans, and anybody related to that. I find it incredibly frustrating that people seem to be okay with that. And I would just like to hear your input.
Thank you. Thanks for...
Did you hear that so far? Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
A great question. Again, on a really tough issue that if we don't talk about is not going to get better. And the question is, how do you feel about NFL players who take a knee during the national anthem? And is it disrespectful to this country, to the flag, to...
Now, first off, he's stalling for time. Because
he's over there thinking.
Yeah, so he's like, well, the question and he's like, think. What can you say? You can't say anything tonight.
No, he ain't stalling. He's going to tell you a goddamn lie. That's what when we say, hey, were you in the cookie jar? Was I in the cookie jar? Was I in the cookie jar?
Yeah.
No.
He's repeating the question for the class. Like everybody heard the question very clearly. The guy had a microphone. He had the same microphone.
Well, first of all, that's a good question. What she just asked was I in the cookie jar and ate the last macaroon? Yeah. That's a very good question because, I love macaroons and she loves macaroons.
Yeah, and while he's repeating the question, he's using it to buy time to think of an answer. But let's keep going.
Service members who are right there tonight, where it is tonight in Afghanistan, and those former service members, retirees, and veterans who are here with us today. Thank you each for your service.
He takes time to thank all the different veterans. He's like, it's like shouting out to the city you're in when you're a stand-up comic. Like, hey, is Minneapolis in the house?
All the fine ladies.
Yeah, exactly.
Girls, y'all look so good. Fellas, y'all in the house.
He's just stalling like crazy. Okay, let's go.
My short answer is no. I don't think it's disrespectful. Here's my longer answer, but I'm going to try to make sure that I get...
See, the clapping, he's getting nervous. See, he's like, no clap yet, because if...
hold on, wait a minute, let me
walk it back, because if they accept the clapping too eagerly and he doesn't, rein it in, then the other people can be like, oh, so he's on the Negro side, So he's trying to stem the clapping right away. Like, don't get carried away yet. Now it's time to butter up the other side, too.
Because I think it's a really important question.
He was really nervous.
Reasonable people can disagree on this issue. Let's begin there.
See, first of all, what does that mean? Reasonable people can disagree. So reasonable people can say that he's disrespecting the military when he's clearly said a million times he's not. Like the whole reason for putting the knee down is to respect the military. Like he
because he spoke to a military veteran who said, well, maybe this is a better way to get your message across, and at the same time not come across as disrespecting the flag. And he wholeheartedly embraced that man's point of view and began to take a knee.
That's what the funny exactly because that's the funny thing. He was just sitting down before, and the military guy advised him, hey, if you do the knee, then people will know that you're against the flag, but you're also paying respect to the veterans. So on that level, reasonable people can't disagree. You have to be especially unreasonable to keep misconstruing it.
Disagree to make a lie. Yeah. It's not reasonable to lie on somebody.
Yeah, it's like one group says the sky is blue, the other one says the sky is green, and then to placate both, say reasonable people can disagree. Because no,
well, he says this guy is green, but he's obviously a smart person. Okay, so we don't want to take that away from him. He's a smart, rational person. So we got to understand maybe something's wrong with his eyes as to why. Or maybe you don't have to put the blueness in his face. You don't have to say, "Hey, the sky is blue." It's blue. You don't have to
also for pedantic people, because there's gonna be somebody's gonna say, "Well, actually, to non-humanize, the sky is green, but because of how the ozone and the sun passes through the layers, it appears blue to the naked eye." Listen, I don't know if it's really green, but to the average eye, it looks blue. So just just.
Well, hey, this is
exactly.
You go to Neil deGrasse Tyson if you want to read
somebody's
about that
always going to come through with that. Okay. But on the other level, are you saying reasonable people can disagree that black people are getting shot by cops and the cops are getting acquitted? Is that not true? Like even if you bring up the black on black crime thing, when those guys get caught, they're not getting blatantly acquitted. There's not the state actually actively like, you know, or the jury's actively like working to get these guys, like the black on black criminals, nobody's working to get them off each and every time.
Right, no.
Like when they get caught, they get thrown.
Oh. And nobody's seeking out autographs and contributing to their PayPals or GoFundMes.
Yeah. All those cops are getting
auctioning off their murder weapons. And
those cops are like cashing in on GoFundMe's and whatever. Yeah, and the guests of honors are like gun shows and stuff. Like Zimmerman, who's not a cop, but like even private civilians get to be deputized the civilians. Yeah, so reasonable people can't disagree. But okay, let's keep going.
And it makes them no less American to come down on a different conclusion on this issue, right? You can feel as a young man does, you can feel as I do, you're every bit as American.
This is the most non-committal, mealy-mouthed, wishy-washy thing ever. He's just basically kissed everybody's ass.
That's so typical. That's so typical of them.
All the same. But I'm reminded, somebody
politicians
reading the
in general,
Taylor Branch book. You did. Parting the Waters and the King Years. And when
Martin
you read
Luther King.
that book and find out what Dr. King and this non-violent, peaceful movement to...
You think he's saying non-violent, peaceful? He wants to reassure the guy, I'm with you. I don't see. It's not like he's paying respect to the black people, but that's a message to send to that guy.
Well, it's like there's just two groups are hearing two different things in one message.
Yeah, but also he keeps saying, listen, peaceful, non-violent, peaceful. He keeps saying it over and over. He said, listen, I'm with you. I don't want a race war. I want to keep the darkies in their place. Like, because what I keep saying, peaceful. When I also throw in the Black Panthers, just talk about every Freedom Friday. What is? I'll back it up just a little bit because I want to play it again.
The King Years, and when you read that book and find out what Dr. King and this non-violent, peaceful movement to...
And when you keep seeing how he keeps emphasizing visually with his finger, he really wants to drive that home, man. I think it's a double thing. He wants the black people to remember, look, please be nonviolent. And he wants that Kaepernick, he wants an anti-Kaepernick guy to be like, listen, I want these black people subjugated the same way you do. I want them to not be violent. He's not telling them to do whatever it takes. He's telling them specifically, and that's something I think is just like kind of bone that he's throwing the guy who asked that question. Like, because what that guy sees when he sees Kaepernick kneeling and being insubordinate, he sees, what if all black people get insubordinate? What if if black people will even turn down millions of dollars, then what's the guy who has nothing to lose gonna go for? But he sees, when he sees Kaepernick, he sees a violent uprising. That's what that white genocide shit is. Like when they say white, like these racists are saying white genocide. They actually think that every single one of these is one step closer to when black people start acting like white people. Because when white people get subjugated, they want blood. And by he's subtly answering the Kaepernick question in a way that satisfies that guy, because as a white guy, he knows what that guy's fear is. So that's why while he's acting like he's disagreeing with the guy, he's actually reassuring the guy by keep saying, when the guy says, what about Kaepernick? The coded thing is there a race war coming? What are you going to do about it? These Negroes are going to get violent. So his response is acting like, well, I agree with Kaepernick. We have to we'll keep everything non-violent. So he's actually answering the guy. You see what I'm trying to say there? Like,
I
better because they didn't get full civil rights for their fellow Americans. The challenges that they face, those who died.
See, he putting out they didn't even get civil rights. So he says, you see what he says, that they didn't even get full civil rights. But shouldn't that be a failure? But that's that black.
Not only a failure in achieving his goals, a failure in the method.
Like pictures of Jewish people in the Holocaust, and they said they didn't succeed. Would anybody praise people who didn't succeed in getting rid of the Nazis? If they said, they fought the Nazis and they didn't get rid of them, but the Nazis we have now are a lot nicer. And now the Nazis only kill half of them.
That's basically analogous to what they're saying.
Yeah, that's basically what he's saying, but that's supposed to be a win because you're black. It should be so much worse for you. Like black people still think at least we're not slaves. Like we don't like to say it out loud, but I think a lot of us really think that way. And
well, Malcolm tried to tell you about the progress and the taking the knife a half inch out versus it's no progress at all.
Yeah, and this guy he thinks like that, and he knows other black people think like that, and so
what the thing I always find, like I don't even from the most well-meaning white people, like referring to Martin Luther King and a guy who white supremacists murdered, and trying to use him as a pillar, an example of what everybody should be doing and following. Like, if he was so great, why y'all
Yeah,
kill him?
yeah, it's true. And also, why are you? If he was not,
Well, I felt he was great, but if y'all felt
yeah,
he was that great,
if he was non-violent and he was shot because white people were violent, then why is
right?
everyone always preaching to the black people to be non-violent? They should be preaching to white people to be non-violent. Like, why do these non-violent things not go to white people? White people are the ones who always kill the non-violent. You know, that'll be like
Right.
if I keep telling my kid, don't fight, and then each time he goes to the schoolyard, a different kid in that schoolyard, a schoolyard full of bullies, just punches him in the face. And then each time I keep yelling at him not to fight, you're doing the right thing. Like, sooner or later, someone just tell the other kid, hey, maybe you shouldn't fight either. Like, you know, it's very weird that the non-violent speeches don't go to the people who keep...
The most
yeah,
violent
keep
people.
killing like the non-violent people. It's like he's saying you did a good job. Like Martin Luther King is non-violent. He gets killed by a violent white guy, and then what they do is they congratulate him for being non-violent. Because I know that wasn't easy to get killed. You did a good job. You know, it's very very bizarre. But let's go. Yeah, mm-hmm.
You know what's funny about that? You know the brother that got killed down there by the cop, got murdered down there by the cop in Dallas. Gene.
Oh yeah.
You know both of them. You know, the funny thing was there was a Twitter thread the other day, and I guess Dana Loesch had said maybe if the brother had a legally registered firearm, you know, this might be a different scenario. And then, you know, right on cue, a bunch of people coming in. Well, what are you saying that he should be killing cops? And wait a minute, you know, they just like, they want to pump the brakes real quick. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
It's kind of what along those same lines to me. It's like where no, hold on, wait a minute. No, your response shouldn't be violence in the face of violence. That's not for you to do, you know?
Yeah, it's very, very, very bizarre. Yeah, there's only like 2 minutes left. Let's just finish this up.
In Philadelphia, Mississippi.
I like to digress sometimes.
Oh no, I wasn't talking about you. I'm talking about there's only 2 minutes left in this clip. Like I just want to finish it.
Civil rights for their fellow Americans.
Actually, I'm gonna back that up because I love that sentence. When he says, like, even though they didn't succeed, and he says it like a very casual side, even though they didn't succeed in actually getting equal treatment, you know, for black people, like, it's just amazing. Like, again, like any other group, I would not even see that even passing as something to celebrate. But
the young man does, you can feel as I do. You're every bit as American, all the same.
I went back a little too far.
Somebody mentioned reading the Taylor Branch book. You did. Parting the Waters and the King Years. And when you read that book, find out what Dr. King and this nonviolent, peaceful movement to secure better, because they didn't get full, civil rights for their fellow Americans, the challenges that they faced, those who died in Philadelphia, Mississippi, for the crime of trying to be a man, trying to be a woman in this country, the young girls who died in the church bombing, those who were beaten within an inch of their life crossing the Edmund Pettus Bridge.
He's just playing the greatest hits. Like, he knows that we have nostalgia for these things, so he's just bringing up, like, okay, so yeah, you just named all these iconic civil rights moments. What does that have to do with helping black people now? Like, you know, it would be like.
Well, he didn't mention black people. He was talking about fellow Americans.
but those milestones, like the Pettit Bridge and all those things, were like, you know.
But those were for civil rights for the fellow Americans.
That's true, because he actually doesn't say black people yet. He doesn't say black people at all in this speech. So far, I don't know if it comes up, which is because he knows that's a trigger word. He will lose this guy if he says black people.
Yeah,
he can't isolate. I mean, even
he'll lose half the black people.
That's true, because even liberals and black people, they don't like to say black people. Black people always say POC now, people of color, or they say blacks and Hispanics, or blacks and Native Americans, or whatever. Just the fact that it's called civil rights and not black rights, which I brought up in the past. The fact that we can't even call it black rights because we know it'll trigger people to even hear that. So it's funny. He's giving a speech about black people without saying black people, and he's nervous. He's trying to make sure he doesn't lose anybody in the room. And it's funny that this is being viewed as such a principled stand, but it shows how low how much black pathology realism is. Like, it's black people are so considered to just be naturally like debased and so low expectations that this is considered like a good speech. It's like very natural in the way it wouldn't be for anybody else.
In Selma, Alabama, with John Lewis.
John Lewis, all the greatest hits.
In the face, spat upon, dragged out by their collar.
We've seen the
at
movies.
the Woolworth lunch counter for sitting with white people at the same lunch counter in the same country where their fathers may have bled the same blood on the battlefield.
See, what's good about this part is this is stuff that's already been conquered, like segregate. By bringing up past problems that they lost on, he didn't have to give any vision for something in the future. It's not like when you talk about Medicare for all, like in the speech now that being given by a socialist, they would be talking about what they want now. They wouldn't be like, it wouldn't be like Bernie Sanders came out and told his people, let me tell you about the New Deal, how great the New Deal was, you know? Socialism is great, and we have to keep fighting and doing the fact. Can you remember in Franklin Delano Roosevelt, you know, there used to not be a Social Security? You know, there used to not be this. There used to not be unemployment insurance. And like he comes out to modern socialists by just bringing up all this stuff that socialists in the past did. Socialists that aren't even him. Like, people wouldn't vote for Bernie Sanders. They're like, okay, we know Franklin Delano Roosevelt did that. What does that have to do with what you're offering today? We want more socialism. That's a one battle. You know, he's saying this is a lost battle, and I want you to stop and let's just talk about celebrating that. Like white people don't even stop to celebrate their one battles. We like stop.
Right. They're on to the next one already.
We can keep getting pacified with the ones that this guy straight up said that we lost overall. It's nuts.
Of Omaha Beach.
Yeah, we didn't get full rights yet.
Or anywhere that anyone ever served this country. The freedoms that we have were purchased not just by those in uniform, and they definitely were, but also by those who took their lives into their hands riding those Greyhound buses, the Freedom Riders in the Deep South in the 1960s, who knew full well.
He could have just said, listen, Colin Kaepernick is not disrespecting the troops because this thing was created specifically to respect the troops. Like, that's an actual factual statement. He could just say that. But even to say that would be he can't even tell this guy that he's wrong, because even that would be giving the black person too much dignity because that would be like saying that the white guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Like, and he believes in I'm white and I say so. So he had to go through this whole speech, then rather just tell the guy, actually, that's not disrespecting the flag at all. He gives this whole speech about how reasonable people can disagree, and he doesn't say about what. Go into this long speech that never uses the word black. You know, admit that, keep stressing violent over and over again to signal to this guy, not give a single solution to anything. Admit that it's a battle that even the people in the past didn't win, the one that he's bringing up as an example, and then sit there and just tell people to just remember all these Pyrrhic victories and losses, and all the while through peppering it with praise for the troops to make sure that he has that base covered. That, you know, so it's whatever. We're almost done. It's like about a minute left.
That they would be arrested, and they were serving time in the Mississippi State Penitentiary. Rosa Parks getting from the back of the bus to the front of the bus. Peaceful, nonviolent protests, including taking a...
First of all, that's not even what happened. She didn't go from the back of the bus to the front of the bus. She was in the front of the bus because the rules of Jim Crow was people think black people couldn't sit in the front. They actually could. What happened was when a white person got on, they got preference to go to the front. So if you were a black person, you were in the front, you had to get up and walk to the back. Like,
oh yeah, he doesn't know. He doesn't know all the notes of the greatest hit, so he just riffs a little bit.
Yeah. You know? Like, he just sing whatever. She didn't get up for whatever. Okay.
To point out that black men,
These are
unarmed, black teenagers, unarmed, and black children are being killed at a frightening level right now, including by members of law enforcement, without accountability.
Now, do you see that? They're killing at alarming numbers right now, including members of law enforcement. So what does that mean when he throws in as an afterthought, including? That means that he's actually talking about black on black crime, and it's also a cop problem. He says they've been killing at horrific rates.
Oh, okay. You know what? He might have been, right? You know, and that's the smoothness of it right there. That's
very
the smoothness
subtle,
of it right there. Because when you know, because you know, a regular black person like myself, who I just was thinking, you know what? Maybe he's thinking like, you know, by like people like Zimmerman, you know, by people like that guy who shot Jordan Russell Davis.
Yeah,
I can't remember his name. You know, the old guy that shot the kid outside of his house said he broke in his house the day before. There's a bunch of killings of unarmed kids and black people by, you know, non-law enforcement. So, you know, in my mind, that's why I went with it. But you know what? When you say that, I was like, that was real slick of him.
Because remember, you remember where he is. You know, he remember whose question he's answering.
Are being
killed at
good point.
A
Level right now, including by members of law enforcement, about justice. And this problem, as grave as it is not going to fix itself, and they're frustrated, frankly.
See, that's the part. See, it's not because he brings up the problem, and you want to give him credit for that because for the first 3 minutes of a 4-minute speech, he didn't even bother to say black. He finally says black. He says the problem, but he mentions the police part as an afterthought, right? He just kind of throws it in there. He kind of just, but then he says, and it's not going to fix itself. Picture you said that for any other type of problem. But picture you said that for anything, and you're trying to get these people's votes, and you're leading off with, it's not going to fix itself. Like, who would take that? Like, picture saying, like, hey, there's a lot of inequality. I'm a socialist candidate. There's a lot of inequality, and it's not going to fix itself, but we have to. Socialists are like, wait a minute. No, this is how it'll fix itself. You do Medicare for all. You do 5 for 15. You do X, Y, and Z. You do universal basic income. They have like a bunch of things that they think can be done. We get told like, hey, this is just the way it is. I know it's tough, but we just.
Yeah, we get the hope for change.
Yeah, and also even your successes that we trot up in the past to pacify your. I admit they weren't even really successes, but at least he looked good in the suit, dying. He looked very dignified.
That ass looking like a pro.
And those in positions of public trust and power who have been unable to resolve this or bring justice for what has been done and to stop it from continuing to happen in this country. And so non-violently, peacefully.
You see he did it again?
Yeah.
But also look how he described how people like him haven't been able to do anything. Because most people when they bring up like to bring up their failures because it's looks bad, but this is because it's such an insurmountable problem. It's such a normal state that it's like saying, hey, I wasn't able to stop this hurricane from destroying the town. It's like people kind of know you couldn't really stop the hurricane from destroying the town. Like, it's a hurricane. What are you gonna do? It's a force of nature. Yeah. Like just do the best you can.
As grave as is not gonna fix itself, and they're frustrated, frankly, with people like me and those in positions of and power unable to.
See, all you say is I feel your pain, and we're so used to being invisible and not listened to. That goes so far with us. Like just feeling our pain can get you like about 3 terms in office.
Resolve this or bring justice for what has been done, and to stop it from continuing to happen in this country. And so non-violently, peacefully, while the eyes of this country are watching these games.
He said that because he realized, wait a minute, I went a little too far. That almost sounds like a little too empowering. So when you look at the body language, it's like, but remember, non-violently, peacefully. I remember you, guy who asked the question. I'm sure I didn't lose you.
They take a knee to bring our attention and our focus to this problem to ensure that we fix it. That is why they are doing it, and I can think of nothing.
To ensure we fix it. Fix it how? Do you have any solutions? Like, and people gonna say, well, T, do you have any solutions? Like, yeah, here's some. Like, okay, prosecute a white person the same way you prosecute a black person that killed a white person. Like, just punish them. Like it's that simple. Like, if you kill a black person unarmed, punish them. Especially if you're like not even a cop, but just a non-deputized Yahoo like George Zimmerman, like punish them. Like it's that simple. He makes it sound like this is like trying to figure out how to make how to freeze the sun. Like it's something crazy. Just punish them.
Yeah, exactly. When those cops got killed, what they do? Like the next day they come out with this Blue Lives Matter crap. Blue Lives Matter laws. They propose laws to make to provide different penalties and stuff like that. They act like they forget how things work when it comes to us. Like,
exactly. Or when those black cops killed an unarmed white kid, you're like reverse Tamir Rice. They got fired like, right away. It didn't even time.
Man, they can't. Man, they arrested them on the scene. Like, oh hey.
They got no pension. They got nothing. There was no GoFundMe for them. Like they know what to do. Just do that to the white cops.
Yeah, there you go.
Then to peacefully stand up.
It's a peacefully again.
For your rights, anytime, anywhere, any place. So thank you very much for asking the question.
Yes, he said peacefully non-violent like 7 times. It was the whole thing, and he was so nervous, and he just kept trying to just.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah. He peacefully, non-violently takes a knee, and then they get on the field and bash each other's brains out.
The black people online were going nuts. He was invited So
I know he knew who he was talking to.